I'm joined by Harry Litman of the Talking Feds YouTube channel and the Talking Feds podcast. Make sure you subscribe there. Harry, let's get right into it. Look, everyone now has analyzed this order by Fulton County Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee, finding that there was no actual conflict of interest regarding Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, but finding that there was at least an appearance of impropriety, which he allowed Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis to cure by dismissing and or accepting the resignation of Nathan Wade from the prosecution team. That happened immediately after the order was handed down by Judge Scott McAfee. I want to have a little bit of a debate back and forth about the kind of future implications of where we go next. But let's start out with the order itself because, Judge Scott McAfee in this 20-plus page order still was very critical in a way that I'm not sure he had to be of Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, and saying that there was not an actual conflict, but there could be an appearance of impropriety. But at the end of the day, if there's no actual conflict, and then if two people are dating, they're going to I hate to break it to you, Judge McAfee, people who date do things with each other. They will go places with each other. But the whole idea that when you date someone, you may go on trips somehow has to do with the case itself. If that's the standard, then maybe there's a blanket rule across all defense counsel, prosecutors, that this will always be an appearance of impropriety. I don't know. So let's start with the order, and then let's talk about what happens next. But what did you make of the order?
All right. So the order, first of all, it's kind of gingerly of you to say he allowed Wade to step down. I think he more made them an offer that they couldn't refuse, saying, it could be Willis and the entire office or Wade. So that was basically a foregone conclusion. And second, though, look, I agree that the financial conflict of interest part is impeccable, because what he said, they had tried, the defendants, Michael Roman and Trump, to proffer, basically penny ante, or not even, let's say he had paid for her airfare, whatever. The important point there, and he nailed this one, is there's no plausible claim. It's silly to say that actually influenced, her oversight of the case and management was so she could keep getting flowers and nice desserts. That's a joke and an insult. So he nailed that. But then you're right. And that second part of appearance, I think under Georgia law, even, it's questionable whether he even had to go there. To me, actually, we've talked about this before, it's questionable whether he even had to convene this whole circus of testimony and when did the relationship start and all this kind of crap. But having done it, that second half of the opinion lands some real haymakers. It's judicious and decorous, but man, oh man, if you're an attorney and you hear about the odor of mendacity, and he comes within, a few inches of basically saying they were lying about when things were actually got underway and the like. And you gotta remember that this plays out in the total nasty stew of Fulton County and broader Georgia politics. And I saw that second half. I'm not saying that I've been impressed with him to date, but I saw both his indulging the whole evidentiary hearing and also the second half of the opinion as, whether intended or not, given a real gift to Donald Trump, who's been quote Lefty Gomez, it's better to be lucky than good. He's gotten, including in the New York case, he's gotten some real breaks, and this was one. He gets to basically change the big soundbite, or at least compete on the big soundbite from "I just need 11,780 votes" to odor of mendacity. I can guarantee you that the Georgia legislature, which already has a commission to look into this case and now has passed a law to oversee DA's offices, are going to fan those flames for all it's worth between now and the election. Oh, and another thing, it was already looking remote, but the odds now of this going forward and coming to a jury verdict by November, with Wade stepping aside and the whole mess of it, I find increasingly remote. So, he's in his judicial guise and stuff, but the whole episode, I think, really lands some blows and is not, if he intended it to be, it's not going to be the end of the controversy that is hovering over the case now.
Well, I think it's not going to be the end also because if you're going to invite this type of hearing, I think it shows a willingness for Trump and his co-defendants to have private investigators look at every aspect of everything and constantly bring these types of motions. See if you can get Judge Scott McAfee.
It was swallowed, but they won. I mean, they won the gamble of bringing it, is all I'm saying, right? It's
and you and I should do another hot take on what Justice Merchan did in the Manhattan District Attorney case, but there, Trump's different lawyer, Todd Blanche, has been trying to create a stunt regarding, and you and I will go into more detail there, all of this new discovery that was produced by the Department of Justice. It's as if Judge Merchan looked at what was happening with McAfee and made very clear in Merchan's letter, this is only about this. Submit to me in writing the timeline, almost like dueling summary judgments. And then we're going to have a very narrow surgical hearing on these issues. We're not doing a McAfee style hearing because the odor of mendacity is a little bit of the saying, he who smelt it dealt it. It is McAfee. You want to say that the odor. But McAfee was the person who created. Let's be real here.
A little bit. I just want to say the dynamic of Chutkin and Cannon. Cannon will just let anything go on. Chutkin, let's get this case to happen. And that's, by the way, what Wade said when he withdrew. He cited, we got to get this case going. But good luck to them. Sorry, go ahead.
Trump's an adjudicated rapist. He has their defense lawyers on that team who have relationships with each other. If you were to put, I would almost guarantee you, those defense lawyers on a hearing where you probe through their private lives and how they behave in private, to cast dispersions on on an odor of mendacity, to me, it feels very much like a double standard being applied here to, I don't think you'd ever really even have a hearing like this with a district attorney and her counsel because they were dating, which comes off like an HR issue and casting it like that. So that's part of it.
Just a quick point. That's a backstory here that we'll learn about, but it's like, how did this come out? Because the lawyer for Wade, Bradley, who basically McAfee said lied on the stand, fed this into the gossip mill of the junior high world that is the Fulton County, criminal law practitioners, and he gave it up to the woman who's now representing Michael Roman. So the whole feel of the junior high little carping soap opera of it, what is sort of superimposed on a very important trial with national historic implications for the election. It's a mess.
It's tragically Shakespearean with the business partner and Terrence Bradley. You almost think of like the bad guy narrator, and I'm going to, in a Shakespeare play, and I'm going to go turn over this data to Ashley Merchant. We will see what she has to say about that. And then he gave a lot of information. But look, when I was watching that, it seemed to me that this was someone who had been pushed out of their firm together based on sexual harassment allegations. He was very bitter of that, found an opportunity to kind of get back at his ex-business partner who he was a bit jealous of, but then didn't fully think through the ramifications of doing that. And in a trial like this, of course, Ashley Merchant, Trump's co-defendant, is going to share it with Trump's lawyer and all of them, and they're going to turn it into a major thing. So then Bradley got cold feet when they then wanted him to address all these other issues, and he was kind of looked like an idiot because he didn't have any of the data to back it up.
And more than that, he was caught, and he got amnesia all of a sudden, and he lied about it. But talk about the low and the high, the tawdry. The case really does concern the grandest stakes, as does the Chutkan case, of stealing an election and an unprecedented historic chapter where, the country and the Fulton County jury needs to render a judgment about this really grievous assault on the American Constitution. And yet it's all now being influenced by, little like junior high-ish gossip mills and small town politics. Fulton County is not that small a town, but whatever, small, Atlanta politics. And it's just a very weird and overall, I would say, unfortunate kind of brew here. There's sort of sexist and racist undertones, overtones, and the like. But the main thing is it all impedes and puts all kinds of obstacles in the way of a trial that the country sorely needs, and Trump is doing everything to impede. And this is a chapter that, among other things, cuts in his favor for that overall goal. And that's the part that, sucks.
And that overall goal being justice delayed is justice denied.
Yeah.
Try to push it off, try to make any type of sideshow that you
Justice
can.
delayed is President Trump is the overall goal, right?
That's his overall goal. Though it's very interesting that even his former vice president said he's not going to endorse the first time in American history where that's ever taken place in that form or fashion. But look, we won't do a hot take on this. It's interesting. You've heard you can't wait for the hero to show up. It's not going to be Jack Smith. It's not going to be Alvin Bragg. It's not going to be Fani Willis. It's not going to be Judge Chutkan. It's certainly never going to be Judge Cannon. The reality is that everybody here should be aware of what these cases are about and what's happening, and be informed voters, and to be the change that they desire and want, and to go out.
It should be, and a lot of people are saying that because it's clear we are the change we've been waiting for. But I'm sorry to sound, and I don't disagree in a sense, but I got to sound a negative note because the two things are intertwined, and there's every reason to believe that if a clear-eyed and considered fair process took place and Trump were held to account, that we, the voters, who do have this ultimate responsibility, especially in an election on a knife's edge where maybe the voters of 5 or 6 states or counties within them are actually going to decide, it's a little too Boy Scouty, it feels to me. I'm not obviously insulting you, Ben, but that refrain, which is going around, is accurate, but it sort of discounts or blinks away in an unbelievably close election the potentially pivotal result that Trump has to date been able to hold at bay, namely a judgment of 12 men and women, good and true, that in fact he did these really serious crimes against the Constitution and the nation.
Well, you heard the debate. Scouts Honor. I'm Meiselas. Harry Litman. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 3 million subscribers thanks to your support. Make sure you subscribe to the Talking Feds YouTube channel right now. Help them cross that 250,000 subs mark, and have a great one.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.